Good morning. Good morning. So I had to send out a virtual apology to all women who I judged in my 20s when they would get up on stage. And I'm like, didn't she know she was going to be speaking in front of people today? But it is not that easy to pull yourself together always. So anyway, the other thing is I've gotten so many compliments on this necklace, so I can't get too animated or else it's going to bump against this mic and I'm going to have to take it off, and I don't want to. All right, so I am so delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me. How many people in this room have ever had any unwelcomed or unexpected life circumstances that threw you for a loop? I don't care if it was eating the whole pint of Haagen-Dazs when you meant to have a tablespoon, or if it was something more serious, like losing a job or a loved one. So I created the value identification process. As I started telling people my story, I realized that 90% of people live in what I call the LAM, or the land of make-believe. And in the land of make-believe, perception matters over truth. In the land of make-believe, if you hear that someone got accepted to 6 Ivy League schools, you call them smart. If you hear that someone owns 5 houses around the world, you call them
rich.
If you hear that somebody started 5 companies and they just keep inventing all these new things, you call them a trendsetter, you call them smart. The problem with labels is that they're transient and they create boundaries, and when they feel so good, a lot of times people are afraid of losing them. So instead of being themselves, they become what you need them to be to keep the labels coming. Now the reality is, because we all share different value systems, I have no idea what you would label me versus what you would label me. I can't control that. So I learned that through the VIP, I can help people become who they are and let the labels fall where they may, which is what brought me to doing the work that I do now, which is freeing people in corporations and leadership, relationships, and helping them to identify their core values and be able to align their life. Now, how many people know what's going to happen in the next 20 seconds? Anybody? Next 10? Next 5? No, right? Studies continue to show that 85% of our mental chatter is negative. Now, if we just admitted that we don't know what's going to happen, even in the next 5 seconds, then why do we choose to tell ourselves the negative story? Why do we borrow worry from the future and bring it to now? It's expensive because it's costing us the moment we're in. And if we're constantly worried about what could happen, then we can't be planning for what we want to happen, because we're in that worry moment. One of the things that I am always after is sustainable change. That when I'm speaking, when I'm teaching, that something will be unlocked that you will remember from this day forward. It's great to have momentary motivational moments. Ooh, wasn't that good what she said? And you write it down and you talk about it on your way out, and then life goes back to the way it used to be. I prefer if something changes in your head, even if you recognize when the negative mental chatter is coming. Because it can take you down a rabbit hole. It can be as simple as you come in here, you meant to have fruit, but you got 2 muffins. Okay. So you eat the muffins, and about 3/4 of the way through the second muffin, you have this guilt attack about how you just ate the muffins. And then you think about, oh, I didn't go to the gym like I said. This is the 3rd day I didn't have fruit. I didn't even drink all my water. Oh my gosh, I'm not even going to eat lunch. I don't deserve food. You know? We go so far down the rabbit hole. But if our best friend were telling us this, what would we say? It's okay. You can start tomorrow. Don't worry about it. You ate it, enjoy it. Pop the last piece in your mouth, right? You can have water anytime, right? So we have to learn how to be our own best friend in order to combat the mental chatter. As soon as the negativity starts to come in, rise above the circumstance, shift the mental chatter by giving yourself an alternative to the self-deprecation that's happening. And again, when you're in a tough financial situation, and particularly when you have to ask for help at a time where you're not used to asking for help, it was very humbling to be in that situation. And it was also very eye-opening for the world around me about how labels play such an important part in how we behave. So what happens is we end up chasing the label and abandoning our personal protocol, how we would normally behave. Which leads me to my third point about existing. After you adjust the mental chatter, when you really get your thoughts straight and you're not ruminating and you're moving on, you're going to make people uncomfortable, okay? Because people will be used to you doing things a certain way, or it's not the way they would have done it. And that's the thing about values. They make so much sense to us that we think everybody should have the same values. Why do you do what you do? I can't control the labels that you give me when I leave this stage. But I'm not going to have regret about being who I am.